Hi there, this Buddy here in Midland, Texas, 3802 Fair Circle. I'm in my attic, and I thought today on Sunday that it's raining outside, it's a little cooler. That's a good day to do a go live up here, and so I can show everybody's been following this story, some of the things that I've found that I think are really interesting, important to the story. There's a lot to cover, a lot to say. I think one of the first things I want to say is since I survived a murder attempt, I've documented people from all over the place reporting people in their attic. Okay, and this is all over Midland and Odessa. And then of course Texas, and then other states, Colorado, California, even Alabama. I'm trying to come up with it. Oregon, and many more states. I've got documented, and a lot of these are either people wrote me, or they called me and I recorded the phone calls, or here locally I recorded calls off my police scanner where a homeowner calls the police and says, I'm hearing somebody in my attic. Almost always what happens is that they're called 1096. That's crazy. So they're given this label, this life-destroying label, that they're crazy, and they're a homeowner that's having a felony committed against them. And so I believe it's all connected to a common human trafficking ring, most likely also connected with sex trafficking, child sex trafficking, and even possibly illegal immigration. And see, the thing here about an attic, and I've explained this before, as you can see there, and I'll show you here better in a minute, but I can stand up. I mean, and I'm almost 6 foot tall. I can stand up without hitting my head in here. There's a lot of room up here, okay? And so, it's raining outside, but you're not getting wet if you're up here, okay? And then I'm also going to show you my HVAC piping. That's HVAC is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. My heating pipe, cooling pipes, been broken apart over and over and over again. And I would fix them, they break them apart, I fix them, break them apart. Because if you're staying in an attic, then it's cold or it's hot, and so it's not the greatest place to stay unless you're stealing the heating, the cooling, and the electricity, because it's also dark up here. And so other than that, it's great. I'm sure it beats, rent's going $2,000 a month. Just think if you're one of these criminals and that you're rigging these homes, going there with hidden access from underground, a tunnel, come up a wall and into the attic, and so that's $2,000 a month rent, okay, and or whatever, and so you do 2 of them, then you're $20,000 a month. You do 100, you do the math on it, okay, and so this is a very lucrative crime here, and I think a new crime that's going on, and of course, when we look at the evidence, I think it's real clear. I did a video earlier this week that they killed the guy that lived here before me, and then sold the home to me. And then 2 years later, when I figured out that people are breaking this house, it's rigged, I started calling law enforcement. I tried to stop the crimes, stop the theft, because it's theft of services. They're breaking into my home and stealing from me, stealing heating, cooling, electricity. Then I tried to stop that, then they tried to kill me. And sadly, there's some corrupt police involved. That's all there is to it. I mean, not all police are corrupt, of course, and we're waiting to find some good police to stop these crimes, and I've patiently tried to wait on law enforcement, not take the law in my own hands, and and I know a lot of people, they want to do vigilante justice and get their guns and the bulletproof vest, and they want to have a war and all that, and I just don't think that's the answer. This is going on all across the country. There's significant public corruption. It's a very dangerous situation, and so it makes it a complicated situation. Some of the things I'm going to show you while I'm here in my attic is places that have been reworked, okay? And because what was happening when I first moved here is I hear people in here, and I even put cameras up here, but I couldn't see anybody on cameras, and then I come up here and I don't see anybody, okay? And of course, then the criminals, their modus operandi, how they get away with breaking the home, stealing from people, and killing people, is called the crime victim crazy. That's what they've done. They've done it. They did it to me. and to others, anybody who reports these crimes. And so it took a long time to prove that my cameras were hacked. You know, I talked to Homeland Security here earlier last week, there on Tuesday after the Memorial Day holiday, and I was explaining to them about the cameras. Do you put cameras in? I don't know how many times people ask me about cameras. Well, that was one of the first things I did, was put cameras in, you know. And like I was telling them, I said, I don't need to know how they hack it to know that they're hacked, okay? Because I can prove that they're hacked without knowing how they're hacked, okay? And some of the examples I have is, like, I had a cat food bowl. This is a video I got. There's a cat food bowl by the front door, and I have a, you know, a security camera, store-bought security camera that watches the front door in case somebody comes in or out my front door. It's very important. You know, your family's safety depends on that, right? And so the point I was making is, when I'm reviewing the camera, the cat food bowl emptied. You see me filling it up in the evening, and then in the morning it's empty, and no cat ate the food. Well, obviously a cat did come eat the food. It just wasn't caught on camera. Okay, so what happened is these criminals had stopped the camera, is what they did. They freeze the camera, and while the camera was frozen, the cat ate the food, and then when they unfrozen it, the bowl was empty. I mean, that's what happened. It's real easy to see that that's what was going on. But of course, these criminals, they didn't freeze the camera because they're worried about the cat, right? They were coming in and out my front door. That's what was going on. Okay, that was one example. A second example I do was up here in my attic, and I have these standalone motion detectors. They look like this. I'll show you. You get these at Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever, and you turn them on, you put a battery in them, and you put your finger in front of them, and or, you know, you move around about 10 foot in front of them, and they go beep beep, and that's what I record. You know, they last for like 20 seconds, make an audible noise, and the light flashes. Okay, so it's audible, visual alarm. That's not computer operated, so they're not hacking these. Okay, but they are up here and they can turn them off. You know, when I come up here earlier, there was one over there, a motion detector, and the switch was on, but nothing happened in front of it. So either the battery's dead or it's taken out, one or the other. And then there was two of them I had here. One of them worked, the other one didn't work, and the switch was on though, like the battery was dead on it. This wasn't the working one. The working one I've got over there. And I put it over there for a reason, because I'm back to the video and the security cameras. Okay, I have the motion detector sitting over there just like that. I have a video on this. Okay, so you get in front of it, and I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna turn the camera, and I'm gonna go over there in a minute. I'm gonna show you how it goes off. Okay, it works. You know, this thing works. And as I told other people, you put a burglar alarm system, a motion detector in your attic, it shouldn't go off for 30 years. And these have gone off hundreds of times over the years, multiple different systems, including a Vivint system, Samsung system, standalone motion detectors, etc. Plus me hearing them, they're going off with people in my house. I'm taking a bath, they go off. Just all kinds of different scenarios. I saw a person on camera, a young Hispanic guy, in my attic one day on camera. I was shot with burglar alarms going in my attic. It's not a what if. People all over the country are reporting people in the attic. It's not a what if, could be, oh, that's a mouse, whatever. You know, all the excuse makers, all the people are lying. All they're trying to do is cover up these capital crimes that are literally breaking the homes and murdering people is what they're doing. They tried to kill me. They cut my phone lines and shot me, you know. And so what I'm going to do right now, just to show you that works, and so it's going to go off for like 20 seconds, but I'm going to get over there and I'm going to just get in front of it and it'll go off, and you see the light flash. And the point I was making in the video is I have cameras. I don't know if you can see any from this view. When I turn it around, I'll show you some of the cameras. But basically, I have multiple different cameras watching the same motion detector. I have 3 cameras on this motion detector. So one day, somebody gets in front of the motion detector and it goes off, beep, 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 beep. I'm down below, okay? And the monitor's down below, okay? So 3 cameras see the flashing light, okay? The next day, it goes off again, and only 2 cameras see the flashing light. One of the cameras that's still watching it doesn't see it flashing. Why? Because it's frozen. That's the same thing they did on the front door. They're freezing cameras. There's a button on the remote control called freeze. Okay, you freeze the camera. It stops the recording to the DVR, so it appears that nothing's happening. That's how come that it looks like nothing's going on, but you can hear them up here moving. You can see where they've broken the HVAC pipes apart. They can shoot you down below, and you don't see them on camera, okay? And then corrupt police or people that are involved in these crimes of breaking in homes, stealing and killing, then they want to call the crime victim crazy is what they're doing. So they come up with this gimmick, and they're hacking, and that's what they're doing. And I sincerely believe they murdered the guy before me. You look at that video I made earlier this week. They killed him, took him to Fort Worth, sold the home to me. As soon as I figured out 2 years later it's rigged for this racketeer and the sex trafficking behind the back, out back, then he tried to kill me. I got a video I did today showing about the missing tree, the suspected tunnel entrances, and I talk about that. You ought to watch that. And basically what's going on, and I tell this story, is that a trucker would pull up back. I got cameras all outside the house, right? Okay, trucker pulls up out back, okay? I hear people moving around, burglar alarms go off, whatever. Boom, it gets quiet, okay? About 30 minutes, an hour later, okay? All of a sudden I hear them coming back up, okay? And the burglar alarm's going off, and truck drives off. This is going day in, day out, middle of the night, holidays, stores closed, whatever. They're running a 24/7 business. The person in the attic was going underground, going over there, coming up, meeting the trucker, going back and coming back over here. Okay, and I showed where I believe that's happening. People go, how come you haven't digged? Because these people have guns, right? They shoot you in the back, and then they get these police over here to come in and steal the evidence, okay, and call the crime victim crazy. It's very dangerous. We must have police, and it's going on across the nation. This is much bigger than this house, okay? And also, I don't believe that the people breaking in the attic over here are the crime ringleaders, okay? And it's real possible that they're human trafficking victims, that they're sex trafficking victims, and being exploited. It's real possible they're children. Another thing I showed this morning was I found a Lego toy on top of my HVAC filter. Okay, and so that filter is the heating cooling filter that you change out every 3 months or whatever. It mounts up into my attic. It's actually right here. Okay, it's where it is, and I'm going to tell a story and move this camera and show it in a minute. But basically, that's the intake of the HVAC. So it's sucking the air out of the house, going through the system, then coming back through the vents. Okay, but that's where the filter is. Okay, well, I found a Lego toy. Well, the toy wasn't there 3 months later when I changed that filter, so somebody dropped it. Okay, and, a lot of people go, well, that's in that pipe. Yeah, it is in that pipe. And what you're going to see here, I'm going to show you this flex tube right there. It's big enough to crawl in, okay, to crawl through. A person could crawl through there. Is the insulation that covers the pipe is all messed up, taken off, completely removed. Me and the ex-wife in 2011, we re-secured the insulation on there. It's been taken off since, okay? And by the people that break in this house. That's the same thing with the piping, and you'll see ductwork all over the pipe where I've gone through and fixed it, and they break it apart, okay? And it all comes back down to stealing the heating and cooling from the system. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over there to the motion detector, the burglar alarm, and that's what I film all the time, and that way y'all can test it and see that it works, and then I'll flip it off, and then I'll show you that the light's flashing, and then I'll turn around and I'll show you these mounted cameras, and to just drive in that point that the reason these cameras, I don't even view them anymore because I know they're pretty much worthless to me while they're hacked, and so and it's not the only cameras I installed up here. I've put different cameras in, Vivint system. I've had all kinds of, burglar alarm systems go off. It's not a proof problem. The problem's been a long time with public corruption. Okay, so, and it's, of course, not flat ground here. And I don't want to get hurt because I only got half a foot, right? And so I'm going to be real careful. Okay. Okay. And y'all should see that flash here. Okay, and when I get over here, there it is, right there. Okay, so do you see it flash and work? That's what I film all the time right there. And I'm going to flip the switch off. Sometimes it'll go off and then 5 seconds later, boom, it'll stop. And you know why? Because they flipped the switch. A person up here flips the switch. I know that when I'm down below and I hear it go off and then quickly get turned off because it lasts 20 seconds or whatever. Okay. And so, that's okay. And what I'm going to do here is flip this camera around again. Here in a minute, I'm going to take it out of the tripod, and so then it's going to start bouncing around as I move around, and I'll show you some things up here. Okay, do you see that camera? Okay, I'm going to go over there and show it to you right here. Okay, so here's one camera right there, and there's another one back over there. Okay, and there's other ones back here. So there's more cameras up here, and that's what I was talking about, where you have 3 cameras watching that standalone motion detector, and one day you see lights flash on 3 camera feeds, another day 2 camera feeds. It's because they froze the camera, just like the front door. Okay, so that's what they're doing. Now, here's the other thing. I come up here, and you don't see anybody. Okay, I don't see an entrance that's going underground, and you know, I want to talk about that. Okay, and let's get logical on this. Okay, you're in the attic. It's not a what if could be. We know for a fact somebody, more than one person, because sometimes I hear a person here, a person there, even 3 people. More than one person is up here sometimes. Sometimes it's one person. I can only verify it by noise. Okay, but people are here. Okay, and it's not a what if could be. It's absolute person. You know, whether it's human trafficking victim, whatever, but it's people. And how did they get up here? Well, after this first started happening, you know, it was a process. You know, when I first figured out somebody's breaking my house, it wasn't but somebody in my attic. It was somebody in my regular living space of my house, you know, because when I'm not here, they have my whole house, okay? They can use my bed for prostitution tricks, okay? And I believe that was going on, like a flop house, okay? And I worked all the time. I was single. And so my first call for a burglary wasn't for somebody in the attic. It was somebody in my house. Okay. And then I've also had burglar alarm motion detectors go off right there outside my door with my door bolted shut or whatever. They were in my house, you know. And, how did they get up here in the attic? That's basically where I'm going at right now. Well, we know they're up here, but how do they get up here? Okay. Well, there's 2 doors. There's a door that I come through here that's in the closet hallway, and there I've got a ladder there. I climbed up here. On the other side of the house in the garage is a ladder, you know, where they fold down and you crawl up there. So you can get up there, you can get up here. There's 2 doors. Well, one of the first things I did was secure these doors, bolting them shut where I know they couldn't get in the doors. Okay, and this one I had to rebuild because it was just a piece of sheetrock, okay, that was laid on top. And that's normally how they work. It's just a piece of sheetrock laid up there. You just push it out of the way. Well, I put a piece of plywood with a hinge on it and a bolt and bolted it shut. So now it's solid, okay? So you don't come from the attic through the door. You know, it doesn't happen. And the same thing over there, bolted shut. So I know for a fact they're not getting in the doors, but they're still getting in here. Well, maybe they're getting on the roof, you know. Roof was replaced in 2009 by Charles Terry Construction. And so I'm thinking, well, maybe there's a trap door on the roof side. You know, they're climbing up on a fence, getting on top of the roof, climbing, they got a trap door, and then they can get in my house, you know. And I'm not thinking tunnels at the time or whatever. And so I have the Charles Terry come back over 2 different times and inspect the roof, you know. And I see something, I'll show you here in a minute, some weird things up here that I was having them look at. And, of course, once again, I'm not even thinking at that time, you know, that there's a tunnel and they're coming up a wall or none of that. You know, I'm trying to figure out how they're getting in the house, okay? And so I remember when Charles Terry was up here this one time, and then all of a sudden it's like he remembered something, you know. Oh, I got to go, you know. And I just got that. That's the feeling I got. It's like, oh, he just remembered something. He might know something about these attics being rigged. But he left, and, oh, no, they're not breaking in the attic. But the other side of this is, since this has gone on so long, since I shot, you know, in 2012, right, that many times the whole roof has been covered with snow because of snowstorms. And so if you were coming in and out of a hidden trap door in the roof, you would leave tracks. And that's not happening. So I know for a fact that they're not coming in the roof. 100% positive they're not coming in the roof. 100% positive they're not coming in the doors. Okay, so that only leaves they're coming up a wall. Well, a normal wall is 4 5/8 inch thick. Okay, a person cannot fit up a normal wall. I mean, that's all there is to it. Okay, so that means it's a wall that has enough room that allows enough crawl space for a person to crawl up the wall. Okay, So I remember before I was shot and I was first reporting people in my attic, this person that I met when I first got here, she made the comment that, oh, so-and-so said, you think there's people in your walls? And I was like, I didn't say that. And I was almost offended that somebody had said that, like I was crazy, right? Okay. Well, now I look back and I'm going, all the time. She knew that. She knew they were coming to the walls. I didn't think it at the time, but yeah, that's exactly what's going on. And then on like the, one of the calls, the two calls that Vivint, I had a Vivint and a security system installed in my attic that dispatched the police to my attic. They refused to look and called me crazy on the police report. About one of them police reports, the police officer was at my house, and I think it was Bracken was his name. He says he thinks there's people in his walls. And once again, I look back and I'm going, this guy thought that was funny, right? He probably thinks it's funny that they're murdering innocent homeowners, they're breaking in homes, and maybe even all the other crimes are funny, because it ain't funny at all. Because that's exactly what's happening. They're coming up a wall, but not a regular wall, a special wall that's been modified with no space. Well, what that means is, you can go, there's only so many walls. Okay, this house ain't that big. I told the ex-wife in 2011, I said, this house ain't that big. I can find out where they're coming in from. I told my attorney in 2013, I said, as long as they're still getting in the attic, and remember, they set off burglar alarms in my attic this week. As long as they're still getting my attic, I can find out where. How can I find out? You find the wall, you find the tunnel. Okay, and that's all these people. Oh, you need to get GPR. You need to start digging. How come you hadn't digging? How come you hadn't done that? Well, one, because they got guns, right? And these are armed and dangerous criminals still breaking my house. Okay, but I don't have to dig. Okay, I never had to dig. All I have to do is find the wall. Okay, and so I went around, me and Jordan did, and you take a small drill bit, okay, long one, and a drill, and you go and you drill through your walls. Okay, and so you drill through and stick a little piece of wire in there, and you measure the depth. Okay, because once again, a person can't crawl up a little wall, and so you can just take out a whole wall, going, I know they're not coming up this wall. I know they're not coming up this wall. I know that I've got a map that I drew of all the walls in my house, all of them. Okay, and so I went through 90% of here verified of where they're not coming through, because each time, each test tells me where they're not coming through, because we know they're coming up here. There's no doubt about it, and we know they're not coming in a trap door, and we know they're not coming in the main doors. Okay, so they're coming up a wall, and they're coming up from a tunnel. Okay, so that's where I stopped. I don't know how many times I said I could find it in a day, and why could I find it in a day? Because there's only a few walls left. That's it. Find the wall, you find the tunnel. Okay, but once again, I don't know how many times I have to tell people, these are people with guns. Okay, they cut my phone lines and shot me. They killed the guy before me. They murdered that little girl. They're using corrupt, dirty cops that steal evidence and call the crime victims crazy. This is a serious, dangerous problem. Okay, and so that's where I just try to spread the evidence here. It's a little hard to read here. I got a ghost busting, get a flower. Okay, yeah, and once again, there's. I'm not trying to prove what I already know is true. Okay, I've already proven a capital murder attempt. I wasn't shot with my gun. If I wasn't shot with my gun, I shot with another gun. Somebody come to my home and shot me. Okay, multiple people saying that tunnels, underground facilities here, documented, with their names on it. I've recorded phone calls, screenshots. I'm not trying to prove what I already know. So I'm not trying to prove people are in the attic by spreading flour around. Ghost busting, I don't believe in ghosts, vampires, or zombies. The people that want to bring up ghosts are people that want to murder homeowners that are rigging homes so that they can steal and kill, is what they're doing. Remember, $2,000, there's a lot of money here to be made by these criminals, and I believe then they're using it for sex trafficking. Okay, and I can't do that link while I'm going to go live, but anyways, like I said, I don't know how many times I've said that. I don't believe in ghosts, vampires, or zombies. And I know they don't carry 45s loaded with plastic tip pellet-filled bullets, right? And they don't, and that's all there is to it, And so, And it's a fair question. I'm not trying to get onto you, but and it's something I even thought about. I mean, there was one time I thought about filling this whole thing up with insulation. Okay, but that really wasn't the answer. The answer is we've got to get law enforcement involved to stop these crimes. That's the answer. Okay, and you know, and it's not crippled Buddy trying to go after a crime gang that's rigged hundreds of homes across the nations that shoot people in the back. You know, that's not the answer. The answer is legitimate law enforcement stopping these crimes. So I wanted to go over that how they're getting in the attic. They're coming up a wall, and I could find that in a day, and I do that by find the wall, you find the tunnel, and you find the entrance. Okay, the second thing that I believe has happened is that they modified this attic where there's a false ceiling trap door type stuff in the attic. So I come up here and I don't see anybody. Okay, and then I don't see the tunnel entrance or whatever. And of course, the tunnel entrance wherever the wall is, whatever. But you can hear them move around or whatever. So you know, I believe that what we're going to find, and especially when I show you some of this construction stuff that I found, that modifications after the fact, after this home was built, that was part of rigging this home. Now remember, there's many other homeowners reporting this, and I think the same thing. You know, they did it, and they got a cookie cutter, and then they've done the same thing over and over. I wonder how many homeowners are dead because of it. You know, I mean, they have total access to your whole life. They have access to your computers, and you know, they're sitting here on top of you. They know your schedule, where you go. They probably got a tracker on your vehicle, and you know. And then the worst thing about the whole thing is no amount of evidence matters because of the police corruption. That's the thing. And once again, I'm a supporter of law enforcement, but anybody that supports law enforcement has to take a stand against police corruption. Okay, and so the evidence I put forward, any police officer that looks at that evidence and doesn't act, then needs to be held accountable. You know, because these are very, very serious crimes, capital crimes. Okay. What I want to show you, I'm going to take the camera, and then that's where it starts getting bouncing around, and I got a little light here because I want to show you a few things that I found to show you, you know, things that I believe where it's rigged. One thing, right before my dad died in March 20th, 2017. I was upset, of course. And, you know, and I made a video that day. Y'all can go back and watch it, called Human Trafficking Tunnel. And I said at the first of that video, I said, I can take this roof off, you know. I mean, I can. It's my home. I'll take the whole roof off, you know. I patiently waited for law enforcement to come in here and do what they're supposed to do to start enforcing the law. You know, I showed evidence upon evidence upon evidence, okay. But you know, the whole thing here is this roof's rigged, you know, and finding it isn't you know, out of reach or not impossible. I wanted law enforcement to do this because that's their job. Okay, these are armed and dangerous criminals. Maybe it was a cop that shot me. I mean, that idea's been thrown around, and that's how come we have this massive police corruption, is because it was a cop that tried to kill me, that shot me with a plastic tip pellet-filled bullet. And so all the other cops know that they're going to arrest a cop and send them to prison for the rest of their life. But we can't have people breaking into private homes, shooting homeowners, and you know, we can't have cops doing that. That's all it is. Especially, you know, homeowners that are reporting crime. That's what I did. I reported crime. I did today I made a Facebook post 2 weeks before I was ambushed and shot in my home. I contacted the DEA from phone number 432-209-6494. Well, I give that number so we can go back and check the phone records. I gave it to the Homeland Security this week. Go check the phone records. You will see that I called the DEA and I reported a suspected smuggling tunnel coming to this house. They didn't look, and 2 weeks later, I'm ambushed and shot. Well, that you know, it's pretty obvious that somebody at the DEA took that call, and they knew I was going to be murdered. Okay, I mean, that's why they didn't come. And so the question's asked, how many other citizens have called and done their civic duty, have called law enforcement and reported crime like I did, and this is a verifiable fact, okay, and now they're dead. Maybe Mike Lawhon, the last homeowner, did he make the same mistake I did? And he picked up the phone and called law enforcement and suggested that there was a smuggling tunnel here, and next thing you know, he died by accident, okay? And so that's a big story in itself there. And the other thing that I told the story is just a couple weeks before I'm shot, the ex-wife was here. We're loading the stuff in the back of the truck, and there's a conversation going on, and I tell her, I said, I know about the tunnels, and I've already called the DEA. Okay, and she thinks about what I'm saying. She's thinking the DEA is going to come over and they're going to, bust this whole deal, right? And then she looks at me, and she says, I'm not a part of a prostitution ring. Well, I hadn't said anything about prostitution. I said I knew about the tunnels and I already called the DEA. And then what that was telling me is that she was telling me it was a prostitution ring that was connected with the tunnels, okay? And she was really asking me to not get her involved in it, okay? But the DEA didn't look, and 2 weeks later, I'm ambushed and shot with my phone lines cut. I'm supposed to be dead right now, okay? That was the plan. They didn't cut my phone line, shoot me with a special bullet because I was supposed to live, and that's all there said. And the other thing is that I talked to Congressman Conaway on the phone, recorded on a town hall meeting, and I also told him, well, he's a federal congressman, okay, for all of us, right? And I'm telling him I called the DEA and then I'm shot, okay? And nobody's ever answered for that. Well, I met his staff and all that, showed them more evidence, and he sent me an official letter from Congress advising me to contact U.S. Inspector General Horowitz. Okay, the one job of the U.S. Inspector General is to investigate corruption, allegations of corruption in federal departments such as the DEA. Well, okay, the DEA that I called, Midland and El Paso DEA, can prove it from my company's cell phone, and obviously set me up to be murdered because I reported crime. Okay, so I contact just like I was advised from Mike Conaway. I contacted them over 100 times, okay, by phone and by email. I can do an email count to show this. Over 100 times, never got back to me. It was a total dead end. The people that are supposed to investigate corruption in federal departments is ignoring me, okay? And then, of course, I also found out that the brother-in-law of U.S. Congressman Mike Conaway used to live across the street from this house, and then Rhonda Denman Rogers says underground facility is a half block away, so you can do the math there, But anyways, that's a DA. I'm going to take you around here and show you some of the things I find. And let's see if I got my flashlight. And because it's dark, the lighting up here is not always good. And then I'm going to have the front-facing camera on, so we're going to struggle with this, but I'm going to do the best I can. Hold it from the other direction. Okay. All right. What I want to... I don't know how well this will work. Okay, what I want to show you here is where I'm putting the light up. Okay, look at the color of that wood there versus the color here. I mean, it looks like that wood is a much different aged wood than this wood. This wood, and I can go back and I can see that this board and that board is much newer than this board, as in the roof was rebuilt. Hopefully you can see that. That's what I was trying to show you. Okay, and I want to show you another place. Once again, I'm struggling because of lighting, and I'm on a front-facing camera, and I'm trying to show you things. But here, there's an extension put in here. Okay, do you see this extension right here? Okay, and so when I come down, it's not all of them, but there's a few of them, okay? And so when you look at it, I'm going to put the camera right up here. It's like this long board that goes all the way back, and I'm not a construction guy, so I don't know what this is called on the rafter thing, but it's cut short, see? It's 4 inches short. They had to extend it here, and that's why they come in here and they put this other little short piece of a 2x6 in here, and there's another one there and another one there, and you see it through here, as in this has been rebuilt, okay, that this roof has been rebuilt. And once again, based on the color of the wood, you can tell that wasn't done original, okay, so that's a newer wood. Okay, I showed this before, and this is really hard to get to. I'm going to do my best I can to get you in here. Okay, but okay, I got my light on it. Okay, now here we go. I'll do my best with that. I don't want to fall. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, put the camera down so I can see it. Okay. Okay. Where I'm looking Okay, you see where I had the spotlight is? Let's see if I can zoom it in. I don't know if it'll let me zoom in. Basically what I'm trying to show you, and I don't know if you can see it because I'm just blind with a front-facing camera and trying not to fall in the attic, but there's a piece of electrical wire smashed between the 2x6 and the roof. That wasn't there when it was built, and that 2x6 is a new wood. You can see the color of it. I hope you can see that. I'm trying to get it where you can. It's where the spotlight is down there. That 2x6. And so that was put in after the home was built. This area right here is an area that much noise is heard in. And I'm thinking on the other side of there is a hidden space on the top side between that and the actual roof. Okay, so I'm going to try to get out of here because I got one more place that I want to show you that's been rebuilt. Okay, excuse the... Remember, I only got half a foot, so I'm my main focus is not falling. Okay, put the camera back like it was. Can you hear the thunder? Okay, there we go. Now, I'm gonna go over here and with my flashlight. I think what I might do is set the camera down so I don't have to hold it. Wouldn't be I mean, it might make a good video if I fell through, right? You know, that's interesting too. I told my attorney one time, I said, what do I do if one of these burglars falls through my ceiling? Do I call the same police that covered up the murder attempt of my life? And she shook her head and she says, I don't know, buddy. You know? And okay. So that didn't work because it's real flaky up here. Y'all just give me a minute. That's the problem with live videos. I ain't got nobody helping me, of course. And so I just have to. Main things I don't fall. Okay. And then I'm trying to show you. Okay. 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 I think I'll sit down there. Okay. There we go. All right. Now I'm down here. Because what I'm going to show you, and watch where the spotlight is, okay? Because I'm going to flip it around right now. Okay. What you're going to see here, and I can't see on my screen because I'm back on the front-facing screen, so I'm just pointing it in that general direction, is this whole plywood here is much newer than the plywood up there. Do you see the difference? See the difference here? Like the whole section of plywood's been replaced. This 2x6, the vertical one right here where the spotlight is, that's a new 2x6 compared to the other wood. So it's been redone. And this 2x6 over here is really new. Okay, when I first come in here, then there's another one over here. One of them, either this one or that one, was laying on the ground. And so it was put up by the burglars. It wasn't even put up by me after I moved here, but you can tell that it's not the same age of wood. It's been reworked, and I didn't do it. And there was there's another one that's over here where I was, when I first started, where I was talking, and used to step on it, and it would bend down, and it's kind of scary because it's a 2x6, but it wasn't supported, and the burglars fixed that. You know, now it's solid. You know, I didn't fix it. You know, they fixed it. And so I'm going to get off here, and I just wanted to show everybody, you know, what this attic looks like, and hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully, you know, all I can do is pray. I've been promised that they were going to kill me. You know, multiple people have I've got multiple death threats from many people, and of course the crimes are still going on here, and I keep contacting law enforcement, and so all I can do is pray that these crimes are stopped before they kill me or somebody else. Thank you. Bye-bye.